Guys, welcome back to the channel, Lazy Triumphster. I know it's been a minute. Sorry about that. As a lot of you know, I work for Dean Speed Customs, and it was busy before, but now that riding season is upon us in some states and almost upon us in other states, it's gotten a lot busier. So it takes up a lot of my time, but I enjoy it. So anyways, so let's get to it. The last video was me demoing the new Indian Chief, 2 versions, and I didn't talk a whole lot about aesthetics, so I thought I should cover that at least briefly, give you an idea kind of like what certain parts to pay attention to. Maybe it's something that you didn't notice, maybe it is. Anyways, before I jump into that, listen, if any of you guys are local to Arizona or close to Arizona and you're thinking about getting the Chief, if you end up with one, please hit me up, hit up Dean Speed Customs. That's contact@dean-speed.com, and let us know you have one and that you want to come down, because we want to get our hands on this bike and we want to deck it out with some parts. And in the past, someone who's brought their bike through to help us out with this has benefited greatly from it. So we'll take care of you, whoever you are, and then we'll be able to get some kick-ass Dean Speed Customs parts out there for this bike. But anyways, to the topic at hand. So when I very, very, very first saw the pictures of the Chief, immediately my eye was drawn to a particular aspect of the bike, and the only reason I'm just jumping right to this is because it was such a prominent piece that I think it's important. The exposed tube frame that goes around the side covers, or that cradles the side covers, if you will, is so reminiscent of the new Honda Rebel that it just stuck out to me. I don't know necessarily how I feel about it. I have a tendency to kind of like, initially have a judgment or an opinion of an aesthetic feature on a motorcycle, and then once I'm around it more, warm up to it, and ultimately end up liking it or appreciating it more. But that was something that stood out. Another thing was so on the, I think it was the 111, so it was not the Dark Horse, but the other one that I rode, they had these shrouds around the shocks, and it just didn't do it for me. It looked goofy to me. But to offset that, I want to point out that the shocks, where they mount top and bottom, and the angle they follow, directly complements the frame. To, even though it's, can clearly see that there's rear shocks, where they're mounted and the line they follow makes it kind of, in a way, look like a hardtail. Aside from the fact that they are in fact shocks, but if instead of a shock was there, it was, a continuation of the tube frame in that line, it would be a hardtail. So kind of a cool little thing. And I think it's a detail they meant to accentuate. I believe it was the Dark Horse, had a shroud around the headlight, and the forks in that area, and I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of like the Fat Boy, or the previous gen Softail Slim, kind of had a similar thing. It's real kind of nostalgic, but also decorative piece. It looks really good. I think it complements the bike. The wider rear wheel and rear fender, and the stubby rear fender, side mount license plate, definitely a good way for these guys to go on this bike. It's a good look, and putting it on this bike was a good idea. I mean, color schemes, I think Indian has always had a lot of great color options when it comes to their motorcycles, so I'm seeing the same thing with this Chief, so it's kind of cool that you're going to have those choices. something that somebody pointed out to me, the control clusters on the handlebars. It's weird because, like, I didn't notice it when I was riding, but then, you know, go figure, somebody has to say something, and now that's all I can see when I look at the bike or the pictures of it. The control clusters are rather large in comparison to the bar they actually clamp on. It's kind of, it's just, like I said, it's kind of a weird thing that it's such a prominent feature now, that I see it all the time when I look at it. The odd measurement riser, like it's like a 3-inch riser, and it comes up and kind of comes not necessarily back towards the rider, but the gauge is part of that setup, and that gauge kind of hangs out, hovers over the tank. And if any of you have had a Sportster Custom, whether it's an 883 or 1200, and you know that gauge lingers over the tank, it's really just throws a wrench in the works for easy switch ups, like different bars. You want to do different risers, you want to lift your tank up, whether it's aesthetically lift your tank up or lift it up to get to the wire connectors. I mean, having something in the way of lifting the tank up, just, it screws everything up. But I mean, those are the headliners. I mean, there's other things. I mean, all in all, I think it was a good looking bike. I think that it has a classic, very bobber look about it, and you know, I think they did good. Rideability was great, handled fantastically. So all in all, I'm very interested to see how this bike does as far as sales for Indian goes. Being a competitor to Harley, I ride a Harley, so, you know, interested to see. I'm interested to see what people do to it customization wise. I want Dean Speed to be a part of that, but even, you know, other people are gonna do far more custom work to their bikes than the traditional bolt-on stuff that, you know, Dean Speed and other companies offer. I'm very interested to see what people do to this bike. But yeah, so there it is. Like I said, the headliners, there's certainly much more to be had, but I don't want to drag out a topic because I'd much rather you guys get a chance to see the bike, maybe even demo it, and develop your own opinions on it. And feel free to comment and share. Let me know what you think. So anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. Go ahead and hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I know it's been a minute, and I hope it's not this, you know, long again before another video comes up, but you know, still just keeping things moving at Dean Speed. So that's in the meantime. And just to double back on it, if you or anyone you know ends up with a Chief and they're in Arizona, you know, Southern California, Nevada, it's close enough where they would humor taking the trip out, or maybe they have family, or you guys have family in the state, find a reason to come through, let us know. Seriously, like, we really want to get our hands on this bike, and we'll take care of you. So, all right, guys, that's it. As always, stay safe.